Started a minute ago. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sam Martin is absent tonight. Martha Eldridge?
Here.
And Rick Morgan's here. Public input, anybody? Sir?
Hi, my name's Frank Burke.
Yep.
And I live up on Ossipee Mountain Road. I'd just like to find out, what is the schedule on paving that road? It's been on the books for at least 12 years, that I know of.
Okay.
All right? There have been other roads paved that weren't on the books 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I'd like to know, is there any type of schedule? Do they have a schedule for that? I know he's not here tonight.
And that's yeah. The quick answer is there is a schedule, and honestly, I don't remember where your road is on that schedule.
It's up the top.
Okay, I'm not disputing that, I just don't remember. Brad is away on a family emergency. He will be back for next Monday's meeting.
All right, so I should come to that one then?
You can come to that one and be here in person, or we will take it up with him and try to get you an answer, however it works best for you.
Well, I would just like to get a schedule of when it's going to be done.
Yeah. We have a 5-year and a 10-year road plan. Again, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't answer you.
Well, I should have brought it in. I had it in the truck. But it's right up the top. It's been up there for at least 10 years, right near the top, that I know of. And there's been other roads below it who have been done.
Yep.
And you can converse this with Brad. I'd just like to get an idea when it's going to be done.
Okay.
Plus, I'm getting sick and tired of throwing calcium chloride out in the street and watering it with my water and electricity. You know, to keep the dust down. All right?
All right.
All right, that's it.
We'll get you an answer, or you'll be back next Monday either way.
Well, you can I'll come back next Monday and give me an answer then.
All right.
Sure. All right.
I'm glad you're here.
Huh?
I'm glad you're here.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll sit for a while and listen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any other public input? If not, we'll start into the red folder. We have the minutes of the Selectmen's work session, which occurred on Monday, April 30th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, April 30th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the check voucher totals. Payroll, insurance and other benefits. Week ending 5/5 was $142,865. We had accounts payable for week ending 4/30 in the amount of $22,144.94, for a total disbursed last week of $165,009.94. We also had accounts payable for the water and sewer, which we track separately, in the amount of $6,801.42. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
These are the check voucher totals. There's a multi-tier review on every bill that comes in. It first goes to the department head to ensure that we got what it is that we're being billed for, and they code which line from their budget it's to be drawn from. Then goes to finance, puts it in order and puts signature lines on it, and the selectmen review each and every bill and initial them before it gets to this stage. These are just the batch totals. And it may seem at times like we're blowing right through this stuff, but we've had a chance to review all of this before the meeting. We have a payroll reimbursement request for the Water and Sewer Department, in the amount of $3,308.71. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We had a vacancy on our budget committee. Roland Millette has expressed an interest in being appointed to the budget committee, and I will make a motion that we appoint Roland Millette to the vacancy on the budget committee.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
There are still 2 vacancies on that.
So if there's anybody else who would like to serve, it's a relatively low-impact position in the sense that for most of the summer months, there's not much going on. The budget reviews for them start around October and really are somewhat intense between October and January. So if anybody has some time and they want to help the town out, as well as become very informed about where their tax dollars go to, it's a great place to start. By way of announcement, Ellen received an email. This person is the outreach representative for Congressman Shea Porter. He has requested to schedule open office hours at the Ossipee Town Hall on Tuesday, May 15th from 8:30 to 10:30. The purpose of these office hours is for the Congresswoman's staff to assist any constituents with issues they may be facing with a federal agency or with local concerns. Sharon Nichols, Congressman Shea Porter's staff, will be here May 15th from 8:30 to 10:30. We have a memo from Brad Harriman. These are the bids on paving, on the cost of the paving. The bids we received from F.R. Carroll, R&D Paving, as well as Pike Industries. His recommendation is to award the 2018 paving contract to F.R. Carroll at $62.80 a ton. F.R. Carroll has had the contract last year and 5 other years previous to that. They've done excellent work and are very good to work with. I make a motion that we go by Brad's recommendation and award the paving contract to F.R. Carroll.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a letter from Kingswood Regional High School. This is regarding the Lyford Merrow Scholarship. As you know from my previous mailing, this year's Senior Scholarship Award Ceremony will take place on Thursday, June 7th. Kingswood Regional High School Arts Center, located off McManus Road in the KRHS complex, tells about when they have to be there. It is imperative that I've attached a form for you to complete and return to me using the pre-addressed envelope. It's imperative that I have this information by May 25th, so you have enough time to send out invitations to the recipients. We discussed this briefly upstairs in our work session, and I'm going to appoint, it's supposed to be the chairman of the Board of Selectmen who's on this selection committee for selecting who's going to receive the scholarships. Daytimes are very, very difficult for me because I still work. And Martha has agreed to be my representative, and we'll be setting up an appointment with the high school in order to get those selections done. We have a timber report and warrant for the tax collector that collects $347.48. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have another timber report and warrant, collect $258.44. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a cemetery deed to convey a cemetery plot in the Grand Hill Cemetery. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have 2 letters from Rick St. Jean. First is regarding the trustee of trust funds. I have decided to resign as trustee of trust funds. It has been brought to my attention that there are too many members of the planning board that are also trustees of the trust funds. My resignation will be as of Friday, May 4th. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. And the follow-up letter is regarding the vacant planning board position. I would be interested in serving in the vacant position on the planning board. As you know, I've been serving as an alternate for quite a while. I intended to run for the position, was going to sign up the last day of the sign-up period, but was out of town on business. I was made aware of a conflict with me serving as an alternate on the planning board and being a trustee of trust funds, so I tendered my resignation for that position. I would appreciate your consideration. We still have a vacancy on the planning board, correct? Just one? Okay.
We ask you to appoint him,
Yeah, I understand.
I believe, next meeting. Well,
Or not.
at the next meeting, we will bring it up.
Are you going to discuss it and then come back to us with a recommendation? Is that what your plan is to do?
Yes.
Okay, then that's fine. Then I'm going to hold off on acting on either one of these until
No,
we...
act on the trustees,
Okay,
because, he can't be a planning board member if he's a,
okay. But my point is, I think the only reason he is resigning as trustee of trust funds is to get on the planning board. If for any reason the planning board comes back with a recommendation that we not appoint him, I wouldn't think it would be wise to kick him off as trustee of trust funds. If your board comes back with a recommendation to appoint him, he won't be actually appointed until we vote on it, so then we can vote on the trustee of trust funds then and the appointment to the planning board afterwards. Does that make sense? I just don't want to see him lose one job to get another one and then end up with neither one of them. It's not like we have a bunch of people breaking the door down to serve on our board, so. Okay. I have a copy of a check which we received from the Department of Revenue, Forest and Land, presuming it's on timber cutting. Do we know?
It's the state forest and lands annual payment that we get.
In lieu of taxes?
800.
$923.17. We have a letter from the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council. Every year, the Town of Ossipee Board of Selectmen is asked to appoint a representative to the Board of Directors for the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council. These annual appointments are effective in May to coincide with the town's local elections. Currently, Donna Gridley serves as your town representative. You're also permitted to appoint an alternate. Should your representative be unable to attend our meeting, the alternate would have full privileges at that meeting. Asking us to please confirm our town representative, identify an alternate if we choose to. And they do note that, please note, in the event the town does not appoint a representative, the Board of Directors by majority vote may nominate and approve an at-large substitute to fill the vacancy. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Ash, do you know if Donna Gridley wishes to continue?
I believe she does.
Okay. Is there a desire to put an alternate on in case she's not available?
I don't think so. When do they need to know by?
Probably yes,
That's okay. We're having
Wait for Saturday.
we're having a little workshop tonight anyway, so I can run it by her and let you know.
Okay, for now, I'm going to make a motion to reappoint Donna Gridley as our representative.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then if you decide you want to have an alternate on, which I don't think is a bad idea, just let us know who that would be. I don't know if we have to, I don't think we have to sign that. We have a copy of the Highway Department work log, which is here in the folder. We have a copy of the Recycling Center's daily cash log for the month of April. They collected $6,779.60. We have a letter which was received by Ellen. So I've been working on the garden in the space between the OCC playground and Freight House for a few years now. The garden was a collaboration effort between the UNH Cooperative Extension Service, GALA, and OCC, and was paid for with a Harvard Pilgrim Community Garden grant. Say that 3 times fast. The daycare, schools out, and summer rec program students help plant and maintain the garden for educational purposes, but the big picture goal of this space is to grow a community garden for Ossipee residents who don't have access to a garden. I'm happy to say that this summer some families are interested in utilizing the garden beds since they don't have a place to do their own gardening where they live. The problem we have is that garden has been slow in growing because we need better access to water. I'm asking the town if there is a way to improve access to water in the garden space that is easy for these families to use. Right now we use the OCC water, but we cannot access it after hours. Two ideas I would like the town to consider are we connect the hose to the freight house and run it across the parking lot, or see if there is a way to install a spigot right beside the garden. I know this requires some planning, so please call me if you have any questions. And that's from Joy Gagnon of Ossipee. I certainly have no opposition whatsoever. I'm not sure about the best way to have that happen, whether it would be to go from the freight house or potentially to go from the PD.
Is the garden on the freight house side of the pavement?
It is.
Well, if that be the case, I'd say just put a underground plastic pipe in there. Temporary pipe.
But that's not something that's usually accomplished in the day.
It's on the OCC side, isn't it?
Yes.
Aren't they raised garden beds? Yeah, so it's on the IC, it's on the opposite side of the.
Yeah, you
house in
wouldn't
that
go
parking
digging
lot.
up the.
No, you're not gonna do that.
Just want to ask which side it was on.
Perhaps somebody should consider putting a rain barrel at one of the gutters on the OCC building and just elevating the barrel so they have head pressure to water that way it's free water instead of using town water. I'm sure somebody could donate a rain barrel.
You check with Bo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why
Expenses.
don't you check with Bo and also with Billy, from the highway department, and see
What it entails.
what they, if there is another alternative that we're not seeing.
Okay.
But I don't have any opposition whatsoever to trying to get more water out there. Excuse me. We have a copy of a check from Northeast Recovery, the amount of $82.86. This is on scrap metal. We have another timber report and warrant to collect $518.77. I make a motion, we sign it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have an abatement request on water and sewer. This is 53 Route 16B. And it's on a line that we have a winter bleed on. The abatement's been okayed by the water and sewer supervisor, and it results in an abatement of $108.01. I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a water and sewer warrant instructing the tax collector to collect $3,810. I make a motion, we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that concludes the red folder. Again, Brad Harriman is not here, which involves many of our old business items. He's away on a family emergency. Did we get anything back on the White Pond RFPs?
I did get a little bit of an update from Brad last week. I think Joe Kenny and the DOT commissioner showed up down there a little bit after 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And I think he stayed down there until about 7. There was an abutter that was also there, so there was a lot of side chatter that was going on. But Brad has since supplied them with all of the ownership records that we have on file regarding the boat ramp, and there was some correspondence in there. Rick Sager had done some research back when Doug Sargent was the Public Works Director, and by the sounds of it, the research had been conducted that said that we were clear to do anything within the right-of-way up to the boat ramp. So I think they're still researching it, and I haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
But we haven't filed anything with DES still, as far as a wetlands permit. or
Well, you're gonna need to
shoreline.
have more people here than are here tonight, because I will never vote to supply that after the fact permission. But anyway, do we have anything on the RFPs for the fish hatchery?
I don't believe we received any, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I should go check that, because we're supposed to open on Friday.
okay.
Carry on.
Painting bids, did we award that last week, or we're gonna have
I
that
think we
reviewed
did.
by
He's the
Steve?
only bid we've gotten. Yeah, Steve was gonna look at it. Did we award it?
I don't think we did, actually. I think we wanted Steve to review it. Oh, waiting on her. Anybody else on the public input now? Anything?
Yeah, Tim Hartlock, I
Yep.
just was wondering if you could let us know what the status of the work that's going to be done on the trailhead parking on Ann Nichols Road for the old mill site. Has that moved forward at all as of yet?
I know you came and saw me, and the last thing I knew is
No
there
date
was,
yet.
there was gonna be a meeting between you folks down there as to what needed to be done.
Okay,
Has that happened?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I'll be discussing that on our Wednesday meeting.
okay. And then I would send one of you directly to Brad or
Right.
Billy.
Right.
Because they're able to do it, they're willing to do it, it's just a case of laying out what it is to do.
Now, do they have a plan from White Mountain that shows that parking area? Because I was told, but I don't know if it's true, that somebody had generated somebody had White Mountain do a little plan for a 4 or 5 car parking area.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll follow up on that as well.
Hey, Jim,
Okay.
Jim,
So,
who's the old chairman? Adams.
Ron,
They discussed it at one meeting
oh, okay,
that I remember.
good. So I'll follow up on that. There was something else, but it's completely eluded me. Oh, I know, the cleanup at the Windows site. Has that been moved forward with
It
the,
is not. Again, the last time it was brought up here, I thought it was somebody from your organization was gonna go with Brad down. I think, don't hold me to this, but I think Joe Deegan was scheduled to go on a site visit with Brad this past week. And I don't know what they, because Brad's not here, I can't get an update on that. But they were going to a site visit last week. I think they were going actually to both locations, both on the trailhead parking and the windows.
I'll find out on Wednesday. I just didn't know if you were ready to.
No, I have not.
Thank you.
Good.
Yes. I thought the boat ramps were supposed to have water available so they could clean the boats before they put them in and after take them out of the water?
No,
Not that I'm aware of.
no. That's not
Because they
a,
got signs posted to, and I'm looking around down there and I'm saying, there's no place for water.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I think the
That's-
signs are designed, are to take any vegetation off and to make sure that they're not transporting
Right.
the zebra mussels or any plants, but I don't think it's a case that the boat has to be physically washed with water or soap or anything before they launch.
requirement on that regard.
Yeah.
What is this?
And, well, the other thing is the,
Boat ramp on 25.
Oh, yeah, okay. It
the,
stays.
Yeah.
West Ossipee Meeting House. What are we gonna do with that?
I have no idea. Did we ever get to the bottom of that? I know that's been brought up several times over the years that I've been here.
It's been 2 years since somebody said they were gonna look into it.
Well, there's been a question for a long, long time on who actually owns it, is the problem. And I don't know that ever got
What
resolved.
building?
The old community house, the one that's there by the old DePrezio's
Yeah, I know
garage.
what you mean, yeah.
No, there's been done research on that, and according to the research done by the old registrar of deeds, she came up with that if it fell into despair, that the association would take it over. And the association has never filed since, I think, 1937 with the state, so
Good distance back.
it's,
Can't rush.
The Cemetery Association, is that?
no, there was a meeting house association, Ossipee Valley. And one of the lords gave that to that association. The last lord that gave any permission to that was Brian, that he let the Boy Scouts meet in there. And since then, because I've got money to sit in a trust fund for it.
Maintenance of it, or?
And if there was a clause in there about fire, I have it all at home.
Yeah, I know it was raised that in the end, I know it was not the town of Ossepe's building.
The town of Ossipee claims ownership of it on the tax side.
Okay.
Oh, this is getting interesting now.
Plus 1 acre of land, I believe, is under it.
How much?
I think it's a 1 acre, I'm not sure.
Well, if it's on 1 acre, then that dealer's, that car place next to him
Well,
is,
the car is encroaching on town land.
Right.
No question.
I just don't know. I mean,
I can bring you all the information I have.
you can. I guess I'm at a loss as to what it, how much effort is worth going through this again. And what are the end goals? If it is the town's building, what would it ever? What? I know the one back wall is about gone.
yes, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
You shouldn't strip down and you should increase Ossipee Valley Cemetery into it.
Think there's that much land that goes with that?
There should be enough.
It's right next to it.
Why don't we dust that off and also make sure that the cemetery trustees have a copy of it? See if it's something that they are interested in pursuing as an expansion of that cemetery.
Good idea. Excellent idea.
So, and see what happens. Okay? Thank you. Anybody else have anything under public input?
I have one thing.
Sure.
So, Ossipee Economic Development Council is finalized the presentation. I've got a couple polishing things we need to do tonight, but it's pretty much ready to go, and we'd like to kick it off with presenting in front of your board next Monday, if possible, if your agenda allows it.
I don't see any reason whatsoever. I'd rather start here.
That's kind of what we'd like.
What time do you want?
Any time in your agenda would be fine. I think it's going to take, it might be 10 to 20 minutes. We'll try to keep it short. And I know that's kind of a big window, but maybe plan for 20 if we finish early. Great.
Okay, why don't we set it for 4:30? That should give us enough time to normally get through and then go right to that.
That would be great.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else under public input?
School board meeting at 7:30.
Whereabouts tonight?
It's at the Kingswood Regional Middle School.
Okay. Did you find any RFPs for the?
There are none.
By way of announcement, if you know of anybody who's in the trades, we're looking for proposals to redo the roof and to install vinyl siding down at the Sumner Brook Fish Hatchery property,
At the house.
the house. It's a good job. I mean, it's a fair amount of work, but it's a good job.
You got 0 bids on that?
It's 0 bids.
Are you kidding me?
It's been on the website, it was
Everybody must
advertised.
be work.
Well, that's, to be honest with you, this is not a phenomenon that all of the businesses are going through right now. New Hampshire's unemployment rate is down to 2.6%, and I would respectfully submit if the 2.6, 2.5 of those don't want to work. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me, but this is a very nice little project. It's not a huge job, but it's a good job. if you know of anybody who's in the business who wants a job, please have them contact us. It's,
Mention it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He may not know about it. Ricky Drew.
yep, I
That's
don't
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
mention it to him.
it's a good job, and we've had it advertised, it's on the website, and we got 0 proposals, so. Did Steve have a chance to review the painting?
He did, I just have to contact Ernie with a couple of questions, see what his availability is. So
Okay.
he said that it was a really good deal.
Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion that we proceed with awarding the painting contract for the gym to Ernie Haven.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We can
Aye.
just have him, provide us with some dates of when it can start, that's good with us. I don't have any doubt, based on Ernie's work here over the years, that it will be a stand-up job.
Just out of curiosity, what does the painting entail?
We're doing this entire gymnasium. We're changing it from the 1970s paneling to, we've actually already picked the colors. It's gonna be a light gray on the walls and a dark blue on the trim, and that along with the new floor, I think is gonna breathe some real nice new life into this.
You taking the paneling down, or you gonna paint over?
Painting over.
They're gonna repair it, they'll clean it, repair
Yeah,
it.
nothing wrong with that.
And I think it will really give a nice facelift to this room, so. The floor came out awesome, and if it lasts anywhere near as long as the last one that was here, it will have been money well spent, so. All right, anybody have anything else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
were you able to go on the site visit to the White Pond boat ramp?
I did not, but I was hoping to get an update, but Brad Harriman did in fact go on that site visit with Joe Kenny and the Commissioner of Transportation, and we'll get a report when he gets back as to how he made out. So, thank you. Do you have anything else? I want to bring up just one more thing under old/new business, and it was said as kind of a, we've discussed it a little bit over the years, and it's the issue of the fees at the town dump or recycling facility, whatever you want to call it. I have long been an advocate for getting rid of those fees for a bunch of reasons. I think it's the same people paying it, whether you pay it out of your left pocket or you pay it out of your right pocket. And there is nobody that will ever convince me that there's not a correlation between those fees and what we see on all the back roads and they're dumped on people's property. There is a correlation. It's the stuff that we charge for that unfortunately gets dumped. I'm not excusing those people. It's irresponsible as hell, but there is a correlation. That comment was picked up and then put on the front page of the paper, and I'll be honest with you, I've been a little shocked at the number of people who have approached me on it, who are all, so far, all in favor of getting rid of the fees. I've met with our Public Works Director. He is against getting rid of the fees, as are some of the employees. We've talked about, and I mentioned last week, there are some other ideas that, you know, possibly doing some sort of a punch card for residents where they were allowed to throw away so many things without being charged for. We're nothing scribed in stone. We have not come to any decisions, but I would like to invite anybody who's watching or hears about this or whatever comes out for an article in the paper, invite people to give us your comments, give us your thoughts. Write it on a postcard, drop it off, come see us, whatever, and let us know what you think. And then we'll take all of that into consideration when we make a decision. Yes,
I think you ought to up the dump sticker price, just let everybody bring what they want.
it's one of the things that's been discussed.
That sounds like a reasonable approach.
I like that.
Less than the punch card to keep track of.
Yeah, they tried to use the punch cards when I first moved here.
You had mentioned earlier in the red folder that the town receives $6,900 for the month of April. What do those fees break down, or that payment break down as?
It doesn't really break it down, and it's one of the other things that we're trying to get some information about. Overall, the dump revenues last year were $70,000. Now, that $70,000 also includes many thousands of dollars that we get in recycling money from aluminum and all of the other stuff. So we're trying to separate out what we actually collect in disposal fees from our individuals and businesses. And it's a little elusive right now, but overall, it was $70,000 worth of revenue. If we did this, that doesn't mean you'd lose that 70,000 in revenue, because again, a portion of that was from the recycling, so.
But it's fair to say that a good portion of that would come from construction debris that people weighed out and paid for and all of that.
Yes.
It's a small percentage, but it's there.
The things that we charge for, which are the things, again, that you see on these back roads, so your construction debris, we charge for appliances, we charge for electronics, and we charge for tires, and we charge for mattresses and large furniture items. And unfortunately, every time you get under one of these off the beaten paths, that's exactly the stuff that's being dumped on the back roads.
And who has the handle on how to break that out? Who would be the person in charge of breaking that out?
We have all the information in the selectman's office. The transfer station brings over their daily reports, and there's a slip that breaks down what it is. It's just a matter of manually going through, and
Okay.
we calculate the total, we dump it all into
Sure.
a transfer station.
I'm not saying I'm not against that. I think it's a great idea. I agree with Lois. Increasing a permit would be wise, but I wouldn't want to make any decisions until you could actually break it out and see what it means in tangible dollars.
Well, this is also part of a broader discussion. Many people will remember that up until a year ago, we had 4 full-time employees, 2 years ago, maybe almost 3 years ago now. Time goes by fast. But we had 4 full-time employees at the dump, and when at the recycling facility. I'll get slammed for calling it the dump, but anyway. Transfer station, recycling facility. We had 4 full-time employees, and when Ron Davis retired, we chose not to replace that position. So we cut 1 full-time position, which resulted in a savings of about $70,000 a year when you start to add in the salary and the benefits. I still think it was a prudent decision. I think it was a justifiable decision to cut back on the manpower. That being said, as the center gets busier and busier and busier, we have to look at the staffing. And with only 3 employees, it does make it difficult when somebody is on vacation and then somebody happens to be out sick and is, you know. And one of the things that is happening is now that we've bought these balers and a lot more recycling gear, then that takes a certain amount more man hours to do. So one of the things that we've got to look at in the big picture is ways that we can, one, either reduce some section of workload or look at potentially having to increase man hours over there. One of my thoughts on this issue is that if you remove the fees and you remove that whole duty from the staff over there, which would then free up more time for them to do the recycling and the other things that need to be done. I don't know. If we keep the fees and ultimately we end up having to hire another person, then that $70,000 revenue just absolutely got eaten by a $70,000 new salary and benefit. So it's part of a large discussion. On the fees itself, I'm a bit more of a purist, and I just think that we're penalizing the very same people that pay the taxes.
We're
If you have
also
a,
looking into the expenses.
We are.
What it's costing us to weigh that for the scales, maintenance.
scales are expensive, and they have to be recertified, and they've been struck by lightning twice, and there's a lot that goes into it. But I also think that for those who have been around a long time, Lois, I'm sorry, I just pointed at you, but for those who have grown up and raised here, people will remember that everybody used to have their own dump. They burnt what was burnable, and the rest of it was someplace out on the back 40 of their property. They would pile it up and bury it and let nature take its course. The whole idea behind a municipal dump is environmentally to collect all of that place in one spot and then have it disposed of properly. That's the reason we have a municipal dump. There are certain services that I think people expect to pay for out of the taxes. You don't get a bill if they come to your house for a fire. You don't get a bill if the police have to come to your house for some reason or another. You don't get a bill to go use the library. There are certain services that people expect are paid for out of their taxes, and I would respectfully submit, I think that the recycling facility ought to be one of them. Just my thoughts, but we're going to try to collect some more information. But please, anybody that has a comment or has an opinion, let us have it, and we'll take it into consideration.
Two questions. First of all, if the fee were dropped, would there still be issuance of a dump sticker, so to speak?
There has to be.
Yeah,
There
okay.
has to be, in order one of the arguments,
So you're not
it
getting
may
people.
be a very valid argument. One of the concerns is you don't want to cause an influx of trash coming in from other towns. That is a consideration, and there are some ways, I think, that you can combat that. For instance, one of the arguments was made, well, you know, the local roofers are gonna bring all their stuff to Ossipee because they don't have to pay for it. Well, that's a very simple fix. You can simply make them provide you the name and, you know, the name and street location from where the stuff came from an Ossipee resident. So there are ways that you can police that without it being an influx. But the facility permit or dump sticker will still have to be a necessary part of controlling access and controlling that outside trash from coming in.
The other question I had was, what is the town's position or posture on cleaning up those illegal dump sites, such as the one down on Archer Pond Road, or there's a couple others at the back end of the drive going in past the launching ramp on the right-hand side. There's a couple more. There's a couple more that even where they're blocked off, these little turnouts are blocked off with gates and stuff. People have found a way to get in and dump tires and pull computers and I just didn't know if, number one, somebody has identified those sites for the town, and number two, what the town's posture is in cleaning them up.
I don't know that the town has ever taken a position on it. I certainly know where some of them are myself. Years ago, I actually organized a couple of different cleanups down on Arches Pond Road.
Conservation Commission gets into that too.
They do. And I'll be very honest with you, you know, Arches Pond is one of my favorite places on earth. I hunt that area, I fish the pond. I spend a great deal of time out there. My interest in doing that was to try to hope that someday that owner didn't turn around and post every inch of it, because you couldn't blame him if he did. The other part of it, though, is, to be honest with you right now, unless we do something to change that dynamic, I think you're shoveling water against the tide, because you go out there and clean it up today and it will be back out there tomorrow and the next day. And if we don't change that dynamic, I think we're basically caving in and saying that we're going to live with that and it's going to be okay. And I don't think it's okay. You know, tires alone, just as a side note, I mean, tires alone are probably the single biggest breeding area for mosquitoes that there ever were. They're tremendously unhealthy. They're not good for the environment. They're certainly not something that should be, you know, thrown everywhere all over town.
Yeah, well, that was another thing too. I was gonna say with the tires, at least 3 other places that I lived before I moved here, they had tire shredding at the facilities. So you didn't get charged for tires. They made money off of them.
I unfortunately, and I know that has been tried in several places, the same way it was tried, I think, with the broken glass, grinding the glass and using that. The unfortunate truth of it is there is not a cost-effective market for the shredded tires and the glass. There just isn't. Is it something that we want to look at doing down the road from an environmental standpoint? Maybe. But there is no market that I'm familiar with or that Brad Harriman is familiar of, where we could ever get somebody to take them off our hands without paying them to do so. So.
If you shred them, you can.
There's a lot of tires and glass on the market right now.
And it's one of the things that's also happening, not only with that, but with paper. Right now, there's a huge, you know, the money we were getting for paper is pretty much dried up.
Question on metals alone, if you separate it, now I know from the town I came from, they had one guy, that's all he did, was separate all the metals, the copper, the brass, everything. And they started making money, big money.
We actually make good money on our metals, and
Yeah.
our employees who are
I know they
completely awesome, dedicated employees, they on their own absolutely do separate out those more precious metals to make sure that we get the optimum amount of money.
Good.
We are now, because we bale a lot of aluminum, we're in a position where we can store that aluminum until the market is as good as it can get. We don't just get rid of it. I mean, we stockpile it if necessary until the price comes up. So we're doing everything we can.
I run back, see 2 trailers there sitting with crushed bales of aluminum
I know,
cans.
I know what those are.
But we're doing everything that we can to maximize the amount that we get out of the recycling.
Okay, good.
So,
Rick, has the town ever considered some kind of a regional arrangement with other towns as far as some of the recycling efforts? As far as, providing quantities to the recyclers, is that something that's possible or not?
I would say on the surface it's possible.
Economically feasible?
And I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if it would be worth more with a larger amount or if there's a brokerage firm. I don't know. It's certainly something we can ask Brad when he gets back, but I don't know of any advantage. I don't know that there isn't one, but I don't know that there is an advantage to try to pool. Anybody have anything else? If not, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.